In this video, we're going to look at a garden that has been abandoned for a month. 30 days, folks. We have been in Europe and a cruise across the pond, and this thing has not been tended at all. We're going to look at what's been changed since the last time we did one of these garden tours.
Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave.
So as I already mentioned, we have not been here. We have been in London, and then we took a transatlantic cruise back, so we have been gone for 30 days. You might have seen that short that came out a couple days ago on these beautiful pink flowers. That short I actually made the day after we got back. The morning after we got back, I saw the first pink flower I've ever seen on this plant. I got so excited. Well, look at it now. There's like half a dozen of them over there, and this is its first year to be in our garden. So I'm very excited to see where this Brugmansia goes, but that's going to be a little bit later in this garden tour. We're going to talk about a few things here, of course. This is my own personal journal of what's going on in the garden. I refer back to these frequently, folks, and it kind of gets my brain moving when I see these. I find them to be encouraging, inspiring, and I watch my videos again all the time, so I know what's happened and what seeds I planted and when I planted and how much did they develop and so forth. And this year's been a little different than previous years. There's a few things out here that aren't exactly like last year or the year before. This is our we're coming to the end. In fact, yes, we are past the end of our third year gardening on this property, and it's we moved in about 3 years ago, 3 years and 1 week ago. So it's been interesting seeing the changes. Now the weather has been a little different this year. I mentioned in the October garden tour that we had more consecutive hot days than we've seen since we've been in Florida for 7 years. Here in Destin, we're in the panhandle of Florida, and the Gulf of Mexico is that way by just a few blocks, and the Choctawhatchee Bay is that way by just a few blocks, and so we're kind of between these two very large bodies of water. Speaking of the Gulf, though, this is very interesting. We had Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton come through 3 to 6 weeks ago, and when hurricane comes through, it went past us. We didn't get any damage, or in fact, Helene actually gave us a tiny bit of rain and a little breeze. That's about it. Milton was too far away for us to see any of it. We were actually leaving the country at the time. My prayers go out to anyone who's out there. We've met a few people on our trip that are from there and have damage, and we are praying for all of you, all the people with damage, both from both hurricanes. But when that happens, it stirs up the waters in the Gulf, and our high water temperatures for a number of months, the water temperature out in the Gulf of Mexico here was 87 degrees for a very long time. And last garden tour, I believe, let's see, October, in September, I said, oh, the water temperature has finally broken. It's down 1 degree. Last month, I think it was down another 2 degrees. Well, 87, 86, 85, in that range. We're down now to 77 after the two hurricanes churned up all that water. What that means is this little storm that we've got out here right now that's about to cross Cuba, it's not going to get up here. The water is too cool. It's not favorable. If it gets here, it's not going to be much of a worry. So that's where we are with the water temperature. I always keep an eye on that, and you got to kind of keep an eye on things that influence the weather in your garden, because sometimes it affects things. And I'm sitting here looking at the fig tree, and I see we might have a ripe fig. That's later in this tour. We do these tours in the exact same order every time. I always start off in the southeast corner of the garden, the old strawberry patch, which if you saw last month's garden tour, you know it's not going to be a strawberry patch, it's going to be an okra bed come next year. And we're going to be doing a few changes around here for the first time, a few major changes, and I'm a little excited to see where it goes. So anyway, all that, let's see. We're going to start with, well, first off, we don't live on a very big property, folks. It is not a big property. You don't need acres to grow your own food. All you need is a pot, people. In fact, we started off in a 14-foot patio in an apartment, and here you can see a picture of that 14-foot. I've shown this picture. I want to encourage people, you know, if you feel motivated to grow some of your own food, do it. Just do it. Just put some seeds in the ground. In fact, I still have Jessica Soward's videos on my homepage on YouTube that were the very first few videos I watched when I got my first tomato plant as a gift, and I was trying to figure out what do I do with it now. And I learned a lot from her. And Jessie Sheffield was the second person I found. I think because I had found Jessica Soward's, they were close to the first name, and I think it popped up. Anyway, squirrel moment there. Anyway, so you don't need a ton of space. Just put some seeds in the soil if you feel like you want to, and anyone can do this. I am not good at this. My first attempt at gardening, I don't know, 15 years ago, we grew 3 tomato plants. I tried to grow them this next year, and we grew this, and we actually got a number of tomatoes. Second year I tried to grow 3 tomato plants. We got 1 tomato the second year. I learned a lot since then. And that's kind of what these videos are. It's a log of my journey through learning these things. And you are so welcome to join me in these logs. If you have advice, please, oh please, use the comment section below to let me know. Give me an idea of your experiences, because I have learned so much from y'all in this process. But you know, if you have any questions, feel free to ask questions, because I am learning, and sometimes I can answer questions. Sometimes I need to refer you somewhere else. I'll be very straightforward with that. So anyway, we're going to start off with our little property here. It's 100 foot wide, 106 foot deep. It is a 1/4 acre. It is right at a 1/4 acre. And we are converting a lot of it. We have taken out a lot of grass and converting it to garden beds so we can grow just food. And we're not preppers. We're not sitting here growing every bit of our food, though. If I were more efficient, I could, but my ADD brain is not that efficient. And so I struggle a little sometimes. And so, which is why I have all kinds of little projects going on. Sometimes I have success in area. In fact, I'm looking down here. If you watch the previous months, you know I've been trying to get rid of the artichoke bed because we're going to do sunflowers there next year. While I was gone, okay, I'll show you what happened while I was gone. When it comes to that point, okay, everything in a particular order. I got to stick to that order. So, we're going to have this little thumbnail of the property, of the front of the property, here in the corner, so that you can kind of get an idea of exactly where on the property we are looking. And we'll have this little camera icon here. It has the circle represents the camera, the arrow represents the direction the camera is pointing. It's going to be on that little thing, that little thumbnail moving around, so you can know exactly where we're looking. And so, yeah, I think there was probably more that I wanted to say, but as usual, I forget stuff. So we're going to start off in that southeast corner of the property, and we're supposed to have some rain today, so this is probably going to be a little bit choppy. Get a little bit here, a little bit there. I just felt a single raindrop. Oh, there's another raindrop on my head, and we'll probably have to take a little bit of a break. I'm in actually, oh yeah, I was going to say that trip to London, I actually got a lot of video content on our Tigger Travels YouTube page. I'm in there editing right now. I thought I'd get this started while we had a bit of clear sky, and now it is legitimately raining, and so we'll just have to see what happens with getting this recorded today. It might take 2 days to record this. But anyway, if you're at all interested in our trip, go over to Tigger Travels. There will be video content coming out soon. And we actually did some other content for this channel. We did Kew Gardens. We did a botanical garden in the Azores. And I'm going to be doing videos for both of those places here. Well, as you can see, it is starting to rain, and I'm going to conclude this, and we're going to get over there to that southeast corner as soon as the rain stops. But there'll be no wait for you, because here it is right now. The location of the zombie wood chip pile, of course, is not as big, and it's mostly moved over here to what's going to be the okra bed. And I have to get this all leveled out. I'm going to solarize this with either a tarp, plastic, or a, I don't know, maybe just put cardboard down to get it ready to start. We'll have to see what happens in this space and go from there. So I just spent a little time out here looking. The rain has stopped, of course, looking for any leftover strawberry plants, and I can't find any. A little disappointed because I've been watching my strawberry plants disappear from various places I have planted them, though I'm not without. We're still going to have plenty. And I've decided what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go ahead and probably just tarp this for now and cover this up, because if you look here, I mean, we have some pretty nasty stuff in here. I see there's I saw some grass with some briars on them right in here somewhere. Can't find it now. It's a bit of a mess in here. And oh, I know there's one thing over here. Got a little bit of an ivy right here, the kind with the really bad prickers on it. This is nasty stuff right here that we don't need to have in here. But I just need to get this area cleaned up. And yeah, those are prickers. Those are briars. And so yeah, I saw this really gnarly looking blade of grass with some sandbur type. Oh yeah, there it is right there. Look at that. So yeah, that's nasty stuff that I don't want to have in here. And go ahead and pick that and throw it out of in the can at the curb over there, where I've been putting some weeds since we got home from our trip. But anyway, yeah, I'm just going to come through here and spread out some of this. I do have a tarp right inside the garage over here that I'm going to cover this with. I just really want to try to kill some of these weeds. So if I put this black side up, it will actually do a good job of killing the weeds. It will actually kill some of the biome in the soil, but I will be supplementing this with some of the horse bedding compost that I get. So it's going to get plenty of biome. Oh, and also our compost. We have some wonderful compost that's been brewing for over a year now, and I will be putting some of that in the spring. So there's going to be plenty of biome in here. Biome is very important because the bacteria that is in the soil helps break down the different components for the plants and make it ready for the plants to eat. And so we want to have that bacteria. We don't want sterile soil. Things will grow better if there is actual, bacteria and other biome inside the soil, little living things, bugs and worms and other things. So I will be supplementing, of course, with the great compost we have back there. And you can see that compost at the end of any of the outer garden bed tours in the backyard. This is the front yard, of course, front and side yard. And the backyard has even more, has the outer and the raised beds that we do in different parts, of course. But anyway, so here you can see we've just pretty much got it mostly covered, and I'm not doing a perfect job here, but I just want to get this to a point where most of this grass will be gone when I'm ready to deal with this in a month or two. And so I ended up going with the tarp. I know the cardboard would have been a better option, but I don't have any compost to put on top of a cardboard, which is what you need to do with cardboard, and it'll start breaking down the cardboard sooner. So, moving right along, pomegranate tree. Almost all the leaves are gone. There's one pomegranate left over there on the other side that is just going to go to the birds, as most of my pomegranates are these days. I do have a little corner back here. Frankly, I don't think I'm planting okra past maybe even that line right there. So we'll just have to see what happens. The rosemary plants are starting to get a little bit yellow on their leaves, which is just fine. They are hardy. This thing has been here a couple years, or I think I planted it at the end of the previous year, so it's doing well. The
Brown turkey fig over here still has not gotten planted, and figs are really good about just kind of hanging on until you're ready for them to do something with. So that is the southeast corner of the property.
So one thing I forgot to mention on the intro to this video is currently we're having beautiful weather. Our lows are low to mid 70s, 22, 23 degrees Celsius, and the highs are a little bit over 80. What's that? 28 degrees Celsius, maybe 29 degrees Celsius. It's been very nice, very much our norm here. Just across the water, they're getting 50s already, and we do not, because our water, like I mentioned, is still at 77 degrees, so it's trying to pull it closer to that, trying to pull the ambient air temperature right here at the surface closer to that 77 degrees that the water is right now. So obviously I've changed. It's the next day. I was beat the other day when I started that. I've been sick actually, so been kind of recovering. The mums are actually looking a little peaked. Some of these are getting past their prime. They were beautiful while we were gone, obviously, and they're going to need some tending to here in a little bit. Hopefully next year we can get more blooms out of these. The hedges, of course, have not trimmed them because we have been out of the country. We'll be getting to that soon. I do want to show you this fig tree. I mentioned it in the intro. Let me show you this fig. So this is the closest I think I've ever seen a fig get this time of year. It's November 7th today, and we have a few of those figs on here. You might have seen the, here's the other one right there. You might have seen the video on straightening the brown turkey fig. That thing has got a couple of very nice looking figs on it, a little selection of them. But yeah, so it's interesting because this thing will just start putting out these buds, and it'll sit there all winter. It's just gaining energy, getting ready to go, and when the time comes, when the weather warms up, this thing will start shooting out everywhere. I am going to end up cutting off that branch right there because it's kind of going too close over to the windmill, but it's the one with my figs on it, so I'm going to leave it at least until that. You can see here the tail of the windmill just barely brushes against those leaves, so we gotta do something with that. The Amaryllis, of course, they're looking great for this time of year. They are spring flowering. The yarrow, I cannot believe this yarrow is still flowering. It's November 7th, folks, and this thing is flowered off and on all year. And I need to get a little more aggressive about trimming these things when they are done with a flowering head. I was a little bit lazy about it this year, and I need to stop doing that. So, moving right along to this little patch right here. And this was an artichoke patch. I want to put sunflowers in here this year. I'd like to put tall sunflowers in here to kind of sit here in front of the front door. But artichokes are very stubborn. Look at this thing. It is just still trying to put out artichokes. I don't understand it. I thought maybe I didn't have it in the right place, and so I've been neglecting this area. I took out the water, and this thing just won't give up. So you've heard me say it before. I'm of the mind of letting something go until it dies on its own. If it dies on its own, it's done. And if something is struggling to survive, if it's willing to work that hard to survive this spot with the weeds and the grass and everything else growing around it, I think it deserves to live. Where have I heard that before? Thank you, Just Sowards. Next is Jerusalem artichokes. This time 2 years ago, these things were 12 feet tall and producing a bunch of flowers. Last year they were, I don't know, 8 foot tall and getting ready to produce flowers. These things are so far behind, and I think it might have been our weather, but Jerusalem artichokes, it's a root tuber, great replacement for potatoes for diabetics because the roots do not increase blood glucose. So right here I like to give a quick update on our trees. And of course, starting with the biggest one is the American sycamore. A lot of the leaves are started to fall. You can see through it a lot more than you could a month ago when we left. A lot of leaves have fallen. The trunk, folks, this is not a sick trunk. This is a healthy,
American sycamore tree. This is what they look like. They shed their bark and they grow new bark all the time. And it has this kind of papery, sheddy thing going on all year, which is also good for compost and other things, mulch, whatever you want to use it for. So that is a healthy American sycamore tree. I'm very happy with that thing. Next biggest is going to be the crepe myrtles, which have given up the last of their flowers. If you remember, I can't remember if it was last month or month before, there was one more little sprig of flowers somewhere up over here, and it has decided no more. Lots of little berries on here. The berries on this tree are persistent, which means they don't fall all over the place, which means the birds have food all winter. So the birds will be coming in, eating these, and having food. This is one of the reasons I like this thing so much. The doomed decorative pear tree is on its way out. I'm just waiting for it to rot off at the roots. I'm not going to dig it out or cut it off or anything. Our cedar over here, our evergreen, and then we have a pindo date palm tree. And this thing has made a lot of these pindo dates. In fact, let me see if I can zoom in, because you can see just a few right up in there. See those dates right there behind that little casing? Those are brand new ones. They're still got some green in them, so they will turn yellow with a red cap on them, and the squirrels will do me the favor of cleaning them up. So they do a fantastic job of that. I like the squirrels for that very reason. It does have a whole bunch of ferns across the bottom. Ferns on a palm tree are not parasitic, folks. In my research, I have found out that these are a cohabitation and they don't do injury to themselves. However, I do thin these out about once or twice a year. I'll go in and I'll pull out about half of them, and they grow right back. Very happy. I like the ferns. Let's continue on with the pollinator beds. So in this front pollinator bed, we still have zinnias, these little pink flowers along here, and there's even a little, I don't know, orange, yellow, purple looking thing. There's a red one down there. Zinnias can be all kinds of colors. They're awesome. One thing I did notice, and I'm not sure why, but our onions through here have really shrunk back hard. I do see one onion way over here, which is about as far as I've ever seen them, but I'm letting them go. I will be cleaning a lot of the leaves out of here for compost here pretty soon, but I do want to show you. Just yesterday, I showed you these two Brugmansia, and this Brugmansia over here had half a dozen flowers, and I'm not sure what happened overnight, but look at this. There's only like 3 left. It dropped its flowers so fast. I was very surprised, and the colors are just beautiful, very interesting. I'm glad I got this new one just for the variety of the color. So the other one was yellow, and just a few days ago it had over a dozen flowers on it, and it just dropped them all like immediately. I don't know what happened there. Very peculiar. Jim, sorry, I don't think that the milkweed has made it. I think they're all gone. I think I got one buried in the meadow area. We'll have to see if anything comes back. There are some pinkish rain lilies in here, and they're underneath these leaves, and they're dormant bulbs. And I will be, again, I'll be cleaning out these leaves, and when it warms up, they should be coming out again. So it's just very small flowers. A couple of yarrow plants in there still surviving, which is amazing. Oh no, that's one yarrow plant. The other one is over here. I see. And it seems like it's coming to the end of its year with all the leaf cover and all, and I think that might be part of the life cycle of it. Tell me if you know, but here's a few more green growths from it, and there's a lot of branches. Oh, see, there's a lot of dead branches in here. But there is still green growth coming out of here, so very pleased with that. Those are from seeds I planted right at 3 years ago. It's one of the first seeds I put in soil. It was the yarrow. There is a wandering Jew right here that I just put in not too long ago, a Chinese ground orchid, and that is most of what I've actually planted in here. I do still see there's a new zinnia popping up right there. Remember, I just spread those zinnia seeds all the time, all year long. And so they just kind of pop up whenever they feel like it. And I love it. The mint back here, I need to come through and start trimming back the mint real hard. It is cool enough, and it will thrive if I do that. It will thrive a lot better. You'll see the other one on the other end of the arch trellis that way. That's really looks like it's struggling, but it just cut it back, and by spring it should be starting to grow again. That's the front pollinator bed. The back pollinator bed, we have these Biden's Alba, and as always, these Biden's Alba have bees all over them, and I think they're my bees. I see 2 bees right. That's me. Let's try this again. There's a bee on the bottom and a bee flying around the top up there, top right. But yeah, these things are always covered with bees. Every time I come out and look at them, there are bees over these weeds all the time. And I love it. That's one of the reasons why I love them. I let them grow as much as I can, though I have learned I need to thin them out at times just to keep them in control. More Amaryllis over here, and the Thai plants are looking phenomenal. The one that I chopped off with the mower, it's right down there. It's about 1 foot tall now. I'm very excited. We're gonna take special care of that thing. That's the newest one. These other 4 were planted at the same time. That one was stuck in the grow bag that these used to be in, and they got stuck in the back somewhere, and it decided to grow up all on its own. And so almost a year later, I planted the 5th one over here. So yeah, zinnias back in here. Now oh, look at these double zinnias. These are beautiful. I mean, this is the kind of variety. Look at the color and the fullness of them. These are doubles. They're not that great for pollinators, as someone pointed out. Was that you, Jim? I can't remember. And then there are single, normal zinnias. These are good for pollinators. I am seeing in the back, if you go to the raised garden bed tour, you'll see monarchs everywhere back there. It's amazing. Lots of extra stuff. I call these the little pepper trees. In fact, I saw someone pulling these up, and if you pull them up early enough, you can pull out the entire root. You can see there's everything. You got to get them early though. Sometimes you can even get the seed on there, but they're very easy to pull out. So anyway, yeah, more Amaryllis over there. Can't wait for Amaryllis season next spring. That'll be awesome. These Thai plants are looking amazing though, and as they get older, they will grow more each year. I think the heat this year may have slowed them down, but I just wanted a splash of purple in here. I'm not a garden designer, people. I just like to keep the colors in there. Mrs. Bowtie tells me what colors she wants, and I do it. Any of you other married gardeners out there, let me know in the comments if what your colors are. Our colors are the purple and the yellow primarily, but we end up with all kinds of colors. So if you watch many of my garden tours, you know that I really love watching garden tours. I love getting inspiration, and it's one of the biggest reasons I share these with everyone is maybe you can see something stupid I've done and give you an idea to do something even better. If you've ever seen anything on someone else's video, let me know where you saw it, what you saw, and how it came out for you. I'd love to hear what's going on out there. And again, it's all about inspiration. But anyway, well, and also use the comments. Tell me what kind of videos you would like to see. But Jim, you recognize this beauty right here? This is your tomato plant, buddy. Jim gave me this German pink tomato plant. It's been growing in this little sleeve for a long time. It's here in the shade of the sycamore tree all summer, and it catches these leaves. Now I got to tell you, if you look right down about here, there were some folds in the stems. Oh my goodness, they're already healing. I just did that yesterday. They're already healing. Wow, that's cool. It's amazing the resilience of these plants. These 2 branches were folded over on this cross piece and were kinked, or were going to become kinked. So I very carefully took them back, picked them up, and stuck them in here. You can see I just kind of twisted them around and hooked them in to the cattle panel trellis. These cattle panel trellises are amazing. If you're looking for a good permanent solution, the cattle panels will last the rest of your life. If you've used any of those, you know, rebar, the cheap stuff, and it rusts and everything else, and the rust gets on your hands and your fingers. This does not do that. I know I've seen people use these things for 20 years and more. They are the way to go when it comes to trellises, and you'll see that we have a lot of trellising in the backyard. This is our only one in the front yard, and it is 4 cattle panels. Now these cattle panels are 50 inches wide by 16 feet long. So that whole length from there all the way around is 16 feet, and then from here to the break is 50 inches. So it's a good length. So that means this is 200 inches long. And I've stuck some PVC up here. Now this is actually an experiment. This is the second year I've left that PVC up there. I know the white PVC is not UV protected, and they are going to fail one day, and I'm wondering how long it's going to take. Now, in the hottest part of the summer, we had shade cloth over this, so they've been sort of protected and all. But anyway, back to this German pink gem. I have buds. I actually have healthy looking buds in here. In fact, let me see if I can get around to this side here. You can see there's a number of them right there. There's some up there. Lots of buds. So I feel very good that something could still happen here. We'll have to see. I should feed this. In fact, you know what? This is what I use to feed my tomatoes. If you look at the macronutrients listed, it is it's around here somewhere. They always hide these things, and I always have to search for. Oh, there it is. It is a 346. It is organic, and that's remember that's shoots, roots, and fruits. Shoots, leaves, roots, fruits, as in flowers, and fruits. You know, tomatoes. And so it's higher on the roots and the fruits because these two things actually help produce more of those fruits. And less on the nitrogen because, well, we don't need more leaves. That thing has a ton of leaves. Get me a little bit in a yogurt cup here. We're going to spread that around. Do you want to talk about the elephant in the room here? We'll talk about that in the another video. So that will get irrigated in the morning, and it will start putting some of those nutrients in there. Now, this is a release kind of fertilizer. Now, folks, if it says it's a 90-day release, it doesn't mean that nothing is available for 90 days. There's stuff available in there right now, just a little. It might be a little bit, and it'll be more over the next, I don't know, 30 days. But it's going to release more and more, and it's going to start feeding this plant, and hopefully we'll see less of this. That leaf borer, what is that called? Oh, you know what it is. Anyway, some of these not vine borer. It's the little thing that tunnels inside the leaf. But you can see from here up, these leaves, they be gorgeous. So I'm very excited about that. That means there's still nutrients getting up here. There's flowers up there. So I think if we get this thing fed, we're going to be good. So we head down through here. I'm not going to go through the middle, but, well, there are some of these tie-yard long beans in here still. These things just won't quit producing. That's amazing. Mrs. Bowtie and I did not like these because the beans, they're about an inch apart, and it just wasn't much meat on them. I don't know if that's because I didn't do them right or what, but you can see now, I mean, grass is growing up everywhere. I do want to show you that. Look at that kale over there. It is tasty. It is a dino kale, and it's one of my favorites. It's something Jess Soward said, if you don't like kale, but you think you might want to, try dino kale. Oh, so tasty. Yeah, that's all I'll say about that right now. But coming down, I mentioned that other mint bag. That's this one right here, and it's a mess. And it really needs to get trimmed up. I need to get in here and clean this thing up really good. You can see there's still good growth in here. All through here, there's good growth. Even way down there, good growth in here. It wants to grow. It's not dead. it's just coming to the end of the year. So here's a volunteer zinnia in the middle of my front yard that I've just let go. It's beautiful. Love the color. This is, of course, the asparagus patch just behind the sidewalk. We still have our basil growing. This one's starting to look a little puny. Yes, and that is a strawberry plant right in the middle. And I'm looking for runners growing out of this thing, and I don't see them yet. But I want to get runners growing out of here so we can get some more plants. My strawberry plants, after I spread them out, started getting dug up and eaten. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. But yeah, we'll have to do something with that. Anyway, so the asparagus. Okay, I have never seen bees on the asparagus before. They're little tiny bees. Now that one looks like a regular bee. But some of these bees are little tiny things. There's one I just saw somewhere in there. Maybe you can see it. Holler if you spot it. I'll stop the camera. Oh, no, that's a regular one over there. Anyway, so there are bees on these little flowers. Now, I am suspecting that this is a female plant. Female plants typically grow smaller sprouts. I don't know. If you know if this is a male or a female, tell me in the comments. I would like to know. I do want to get this whole area covered with asparagus one day, and I just haven't gotten to it. More amaryllis up here. In fact, there's a giant amaryllis on the left right there. And oh, looky, see, now this is the one thing I don't like about this date palm, is it goes and drops these spent date fronds. Used to have dates all along those. It drops them on my nice plants occasionally, so I grab them, bring them out here. Sorry for the spinning camera there. We'll stick it out here. I keep this can going all the time. That's my neighbor's. He doesn't have anything in there right now, but anyway, it happens about once a month. Coming back here to the grape arbor. It is coming down to the end. In fact, if I go through here, you can see it's got quite a comb over going up here in the top. It is going bald. And of course next year, or here in the next couple months, we will have to be cutting this back. We did a video last time. I'm going to do a video again, and we're going to cover how to trim your grapevines. Now, one thing I did, and I'm saying this on video so I remember, this is the main leader, goes all the way to the ground, and it's getting pretty big down there. Oh, look, there's a couple of grapes right there. They're pretty firm though. That's funny. I had not seen those. Anyway, so you do a main leader. Now, I had gone up to here, and you'll see that it splits off into two. And now this arch trellis is not big enough for 4 plants, but it has 9 plants. Yes, I know. That's ludicrous. So what I will be doing is I'm going to be doing a single leader on each one of these grapes. So like this one here will get cut off somewhere down in here. I'll leave a node, and we'll talk about how much we need to leave to cut and how to clean it up and exactly what to do. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next grape trimming video. I was very pleased with how it came out this year, and I think it'll do good again. So that's something I trimmed right there. I can't tell. It looks like maybe something grew out of there. I can't remember if not that I can't remember. I don't know. But anyway, we'll be trimming these down to single leaders, and here in a couple months when we're done, it'll be a gorgeous looking arbor, not the mess that it is now. Of course, the coming across over to here, that was supposed to have citronella in it, and I believe it has given up the ghost. No more citronella, which this was the last of my citronella, and very sad about that. So someone gave that to me, and I kept it alive for a while. That was one there, right there, as well as that one right there. So anyway, citronella is gone. I haven't done anything else with this area. You can see here this landscape fabric goes all the way underneath here, all this overgrowth, and all the way up to the palm tree. Hard to believe. In fact, I think it's that green edge of grass, and then there's another strip that goes back here, and I want to get all the stuff on top of it cleared off because I want it to be like this. I've seen it on another channel where he has this going out all year. This stuff is UV protected. It won't decay in the sun, and it will keep the weeds down in that area, but it also lets water go through, so it keeps the biome up. The blueberries are the very last thing. Oh, no, you know what? I want to divert over here to the left. This is that Mexican lantana. It had beautiful little flowers. Let me see if I can put in a little snippet here of what the flowers looked like. Last month, I think I did it, and the month before. I was very pleased to see these. You'll notice that these flowers are now turning into seed pods. And these things are going to dry. Oop, I knocked one off right there. So what I do with these is I go and take them to the pollinator bed. And I reseed them up there in a bed. I'm not crazy about it being right here. This is my main pathway through here. I'm not crazy about it being here, so I've been very careful to go around it for now. But I'd love to have some local native, practically native lantana growing here. Okay, blueberries are looking actually very good. They're kind of ugly right now because it's November, people. Leaves are falling off, but if you'll notice, there's still lots of new growth coming out everywhere. So this thing is getting ready to produce. I will be getting in here in a few weeks, maybe a couple months, and cutting out some, like there's a spent old vine right there, has to come out. I'll be looking for spent old vines to thin it out so that it can have new, strong growth everywhere. So, but there is a lot of good growth in here. I mean, all these little green sprigs like this right here, these things are just aching to pop out. And they're going to be blooming here in just a few months. What, 3 months, 4 months? They're one of my first blooming things out here. And the bees, of course, love it. So that's about everything for November of 2024 for the front and side gardens. Remember, this is a 3-part garden tour. I do this every single month. We do the front and side first. We do the outer beds. In fact, if you look very carefully on the fence line back in the backyard, you can see there's some birdhouse gourds back there. Maybe you can zoom in your screen a little bit and see there's about 2 or 3 of them on the fence right now. But yeah, so we're going to be doing the outer garden bed, and you already saw the pile of Luffa I have right now. That is only going to get bigger. And wait till you see what is still out there. You remember last month, for those of you who watched last month, that's the outer garden bed tour. We covered what the Luffa looked like, and there was a few big ones. Well, now they're all big. I mean, there are so many huge ones back there. It is just, it's hard to believe. And that biggest one that I showed you last month, it's enormous. It is massive. And I can't wait to harvest even more. We will have a video out on that, and talk about, I've already had a video on collecting the seeds, and we got a harvest coming up, a massive harvest and processing experience coming up. Comment in the, put in the comments if you'd like to see the processing, the harvesting and processing of a bajillion massive Luffas and the whole vine, because we're gonna have to cut out all the vines. Those vines are like rope; you can't break them. They're strong as anything, and it's hard to describe. You just can't break them. You have to have cutters to cut them out. We'll get it off the tree and everything at one point here, probably in about a month or month and a half, and be done with the Luffa for the year. Since we're in the front and side garden tour next year, we're only going to grow 2 Luffa, and they are going to be on the front arbor. We're going to put one on either side of the front arbor, and we'll let it cover the arbor, and then we're going to keep it trimmed to the arbor. We're not going to let it go crazy like we did this one when it went 40 feet in every direction. Oh my goodness, that was hard to believe. Go back and look at last month's outer garden bed tour to see the most insane plants I've ever grown. Just absolutely insane. So that's the outer garden bed. Part 3, of course, is the raised beds. There's a few things happening in the raised beds. In fact, while we were gone, something exploded. And that's, well, I'll wait to the raised bed garden bed tour to cover that.
I do appreciate everyone who has subscribed to Bowtie Life. You've made it what it is today. We are looking forward to this spring when we're going to have another growth spurt, and hopefully we can get to a point where we can get even more strongly monetized and get our channel, get some more funds to do stuff on the property and in the garden. In the meantime, I got a lot of yard work to do after being gone for a whole month. Keep an eye out over on Tigger Travels for, I know, the first one. In fact, it's rendering right now. The very first video is going to be most of you gardeners are not interested, I know. It's the Disney Cruise Line Dream. We're doing a video tour of the whole ship. The first part has decks 11, 12, and 13. There's a few pieces missing that'll be their own videos, but kind of gives you an overview of the pool decks and up on the Disney Dream. That's over on Tigger Travels. If you have any interest in that, there should be a link either in the description, in the cards, in the comments below. Somewhere you'll see that. So be sure to like and subscribe, follow whichever social media you're on. Follow this page, and we're on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Good grief. And we love having you along. And you are, of course, always welcome to join anytime we do these garden tours or any of the other videos. Thank you for following. Thank you for watching. Y'all have a blessed day.